In my opinion, I've just discovered something. Well, it's realized more. It's more like it's realized now. What's happened is I've woken up, and this has happened before. It feels like I've affected the field. What do I mean it feels like I've affected the field? Well, I had a plan, and I said it too loudly in my head. Let's say that I said it fourth dimensionally with too much emotion, and thus the morphogenic field picked it up, or the matrix hive mind thus picked it up because I was too loud. I was not post-threshold in the upper dimensions, post-fifth dimension, or sixth dimension gate, really, the gate of heaven. So seventh dimensionally is where the inner silence is. What I've discovered is that's how the OPs, organic portals, are psychic. When you talk too loudly, as I've just told you, when you're fourth dimensionally emoting your thoughts too much. I was going to capture some footage of an injured dog here because organic portals treat animals badly. And what happened was she miraculously, and this does not happen every morning, was taking the dog for a walk just as I was coming up to shoot the video. Look, my life, I'm shaman walking crystal. There is no mistakes. There is no happenstance in this finely tuned universe. I walk in synchronicity. Care I not of your opinion and, oh, I need science to support it. No, you need your mind to support yourself. Anyway, so what I've discovered is how they're psychic then, how the matrix hive mind works. You have to let those thoughts come and go. You know how people say that? And they say meditate and let the thoughts come and go. Don't grab the thought and then emote into the thought. If you do that, the matrix hive mind will pick you up. That's how it's psychic. It will know what you were thinking, basically. This is what was demonstrated to me this morning, I've now realized. So, seventh dimensionally, the one-way flow valves, or the downward dimensional creation, because the universe creates down dimensionally from the upper dimensions, the highest vibrations and light and so on, and essence down to physical density, we call it, and the third dimension and second dimensional hard edge and so on, the domain of things made out of stuff, the little particles, and the hard edge, as I call it. So what I've discovered is, if you don't want to get picked up by the hive mind, you must think seventh dimensionally. It's a type of flow where you do not hold the thought. When you start holding the thought, that's a fifth dimensional notion. And then if you emote onto it, that's a fourth dimensional motion, emotion, emotional energy, energy motion, emotional. Okay, so once you do that, the matrix hive mind will pick you up. I'm so glad I made this discovery of how this mechanics works, finally. I've been thinking for like months, how does this all work, you know? There it is. So the only way, and now people will say, but Ben, you can affect the upper dimensions too. Some people will go ahead and be like, well, you can, and I've had that thought myself years ago, that there's upward dimensional creation, but it's incorrect past the fifth dimension. You do not affect past the fifth and sixth dimensional gate, the sixth dimensional gate basically, because the downward draft of the rays, of the tunnel harmonics, of the coloured rays, like if you look at Magneta Pixie, that lady talking always about different rays, that's seventh dimensional stuff, okay? She's a YouTuber. Now, the downward draft of the seventh dimension is too strong. There is one-way flow valves instituted on our universe, and likely so, because otherwise man would be affecting creation, and this is the robotic portal dream and the robot's dream as well. The AI will want this to try to affect all of creation from the upper dimensions down once it realizes the dimensional construct. But this is not to be. This cannot be, for then the creation, for then we would have what cannot be. We would halt creation of, you know, let's call it God to to use an ambiguous word, then the universe would be not created by God, it would be created by man. And obviously, look at the state of Earth, I don't think that's going to be happening. Yeah. So you can affect the dimensions to the fifth dimension, but then the downward draft is existing in the seventh dimension, and it's possible. One day it's said that humanity has moved to the fifth dimensional consciousness in 2012, and by 2032 to the seventh dimensional consciousness, which would be something I'd have to explain in a separate video. But you might already be getting onto the idea. Now, there's something called the Global Brain Project, and you say, but Ben, what about the Global Brain Project, I think it's called? When they've proved that when a whole bunch of people, a lot of people meditate together, there's a change. Less violence in the society or something, I think is what they've found. Check into it. Yes, this is to the fifth dimensional field. But the downdraft doesn't exist there. The downdraft is in the seventh dimension. It's the one-way flow valves are there. And while it's the dream of the organic portals and the matrix to take over all of reality and shift everything else out of the grid of physicality, it's not to be, because the downdraft in the seventh dimension. So this draft of thoughts, let the thoughts come and go, then the matrix hive mind does not pick up the vibration. If you hold the vibration or the thought and then emotionally empower it, it becomes like a very vivid vibration, okay? And then the matrix hive mind picks it up, and that's how the matrix hive mind is psychic. Benjamin Kauenberg, Obi Ben Kaunobi, shaman walking crystal. Crystal is the highest form of matter, and I walk. This translates to I do the F I want. consciousazine.net. Revealing the matrix and the hive mind and the organic portal gang stalking.